4K monitors, so this thing here has a whole screen to do it. You can actually break it down into 3 windows. So 1, 2, 3. Like I said,
Every month there are a very large amount of mobile games released, and every month GameRanks gathers them together and finds the best ones. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the 10 best free iOS and Android games of May 2019. As a quick disclaimer, we used to do paid and free games in 2 separate videos, but the amount of paid games has slowed in recent years, so we're just putting the paid games in our bonus section of this video. Number 10 is WWE Universe, which is a really unique game. From the look at it, it looks just like a fighting game, but when you're playing it, it feels kind of familiar to us old JRPG fans. Now, it's of course not exactly that. It's kind of a tap to... You have the option to perform a light, medium, or heavy move. The light moves always land, but the medium and heavies don't. Whenever you land a move, there's a bar that increases, and you use that to pull off signature moves and finishing moves. It sounds complex, but it is not complex. When you play it, you will immediately go, oh, I get it, because it's very simple and it's actually really fun. The graphics are actually really good too, with really good character models that kind of balance photorealism and the more kind of 3D look that sometimes you see in wrestling games. And it doesn't really look awkward, which through the years we've had a few wrestling games that have. This is not like a traditional fighting game or an action game, so keep that in mind. It's something that I found honestly pretty refreshing, and I really like its approach. You can get WWE Universe on both iOS and Android now. Number 9 is Idle Island, which is somewhere between a city builder and an idle clicker. Now, I'll say there's not really a lot of aspects of city planning. You're kind of stuck with a template, but in a lot of respects, it's actually a pretty good usage of the idle clicker concept. You build houses, you build places for people to live, and then you very quickly tap to invite more people. Those people generate money, you use that money to build more places for people to live, and it's actually pretty fun. Is it a substitute for SimCity? It really depends on what you're trying to do. If you do want a full-fledged replacement for any city builder, it's not that. But it does have pretty good graphics, it feels smooth, and doesn't feel cheap in any way. It doesn't have too many ads too, which is nice. And in case you're trying to speed things up, you can actually use the ads to do so, which is nice because sometimes that is the issue of a clicker game. For what it is, I found this quite enjoyable and it doesn't get too tedious at any point. Idle Island is out on iOS and Android now. Number 8 is Ailment, a roguelike shooter where you wake up on a ship after 3 days of being unconscious. You had just returned from a rescue mission, don't really remember much else, crew is turned on you. The scenario isn't really why you're here. It's not bad, but it's definitely not new. However, the game itself manages to tell its story very well and has controls that make it very enjoyable. Now, you are limited to an auto aim, and I know that that's going to keep some people away from it right away, but I would implore you to give it a shot anyways, because it's a really unique game with a good look, a good method of storytelling, and really just a lot of fun as far as variety of play. And that mainly means the amount of weapons that actually genuinely are different from each other. There's been a lot of thought put into that very clearly. And the atmosphere, sounds, and just general gameplay mode is really enjoyable. I would like this game actually on a console or PC with dual stick instead of auto aim. It's that good of a game. Honestly, it's a great experience. I'm still going back to it. I think it's definitely worth a shot. Ailment is out on both iOS and Android now. Number 7 is Arena of Evolution Red Tides, which is basically Dota Auto Chess. Like, I'm not going to pretend that it is something other than that, but there is not another way to play Dota Auto Chess on mobile, so let's just go ahead and say that's a good thing at the moment. If you're not familiar, Auto Chess is a custom Dota map that combines Dota with chess. It's actually very different from both experiences, and this is pretty much directly a clone of that. Now, while that map is taking the Dota world by storm, there's nothing on mobile that's anything even vaguely like that, so that they've pushed this out this quick is pretty impressive. and the game is competent as well as fun looking and enjoyable. The only minor complaint I would say I have about it is it has a little bit of a messy UI. It maybe could be organized a little better, but that's fine. The game itself is a lot of fun and I can live with that. Matches take about a half hour, so keep that in mind. If you're gonna play this game, set some time aside. It's not your typical like 3 to 5 minute mobile matches. This is full-blown Dota auto chess, just to repeat. And you can find Arena of Evolution, Red Tides on both iOS and Android right now. Number 6 is Dark Domain, an MMORPG that brings us hack and slash mechanics as well as the ability to autoplay. Obviously, this is pretty standard stuff for MMORPGs on the mobile platform. I'm not going to tell you that this one is magic in some way. It's a good MMORPG. There's a lot of these on this platform, and there's a lot of them that do almost exactly the same thing as this. But keeping in mind that they're not all themed this way, they don't all have the same exact art style, they don't have the same exact sound style. In a lot of ways, what you get when you're playing these games is a different aesthetic with a similar idea, and really the important thing is that this game does this the right way, and I don't want to pretend that it's something special. There's a lot of other stuff like this, but this one does it well. Dark Domain is out on both iOS and Android. I'd particularly recommend it if you're looking for a new MMORPG with hack and slash elements. Number 5 is Dungeons & Dragons Warriors of Waterdeep. It is a grid-based, kinda wave-based, turn-based mobile RPG. It manages to be both familiar as well as not really be based on any specific D&D board game. So for D&D, it's pretty much a new experience. You pick 4 characters, put them in a team, and put them through these battles. Now, there is a sort of double-edged sword. The characters are actually enjoyable, they work well, you can assemble interesting teams with them, but a lot of D&D is creating characters, and there's none of that in this game. If you can get past that, the experience is actually really enjoyable. It's not a particularly complex RPG, however, it does what it does well. Dungeons & Dragons Warriors of Waterdeep is out on iOS and Android right now. Number 4 is Golf Blitz, a game that I just want to say, as far as originality is concerned, I really like this one. This is a great idea. It's a multiplayer golf battle that takes place on kind of a physics-based platform puzzle, and the level design is very good. I really enjoy the courses in this game, and I think that they work really well for 4-player golf battles. Now, golf battles on its own is something we don't really see a lot of, and I don't really know what else there is to describe here other than it's good. It's really fun. I really enjoy the style of play. I enjoy the physics. And it was nice to have something that's actually refreshing and different, and I think that it might actually even last. I think it's a really fun game. I'm not a big golfer. I do like some golf games on mobile, but this one stuck out for me as different, weird, and a lot of fun. Golf Blitz is out on both iOS and Android, and it's a definite recommend for me. Number 3 is Pokemon Rumble Rush, which is more of an action game than previous Pokemon mobile games. It's basically level-based. You have to find new levels on a world map. When you enter the levels, it's essentially you versus a lot of enemies. Swipe to dodge, tap to attack. You can tap and hold to charge an attack. It's pretty simple, but it's weirdly effective. For whatever reason, the gameplay itself actually really is fun. It works really well. And as with most Pokemon, there is of course a collection mechanic. That's the intent of the game, basically to grow your Pokemon collection, and it works. It's fun. It's kind of like Pokemon Quest if you made that game a little bit more complex and didn't use very simplistic graphics. It looks more like a traditional Pokemon game. Though I would say if you're expecting as simple an experience as Quest, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're looking for something with a little more depth than Quest, you probably will be happy with it. It's not a massive amount more depth, but there is definitely more to this game. Number 2 is Godzilla Defense Force, which is a base management game where you actually have to build up a base capable of defending a city against, well, Godzilla and company. Interestingly enough, you can actually collect kaiju of your own to set against the invading kaiju, which seems counterintuitive for what you're doing in the game, but who really cares? Gonna go ahead and say it's actually a really fun game. There's more to it than just the battles, but I'm gonna go ahead and say the battles are really the main reason you would want to play this game, and it's certainly worth the time. Godzilla Defense Force is out on iOS and Android. And finally, number 1 is Durango Wildlands, which is a prehistoric MMORPG in which you tame and fight dinosaurs, form clans, and quote-unquote develop a new civilization alongside your fellow pioneers. Now, from what I've played of this game, it's different. It's an MMORPG that doesn't feel like every single other MMORPG, and I think that in this case that's a positive. Where we did see some more traditional mobile MMORPGs this month, this is the definite standout as trying to do something different. And as far as what you can actually do in this, there's a lot of different multiplayer modes. There's PvP, there's clan battles, there's raids, and I think it's just an interesting take on an MMORPG. I like it. I think it's worth a shot. Durango Wildlands is out on iOS and Android now. Couple of bonus paid games for you. First is Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, which is a gorgeous hand-drawn remake of the 1989 game. Now, I think you will find this game is a very faithful recreation of the gameplay of that game, but it's certainly much prettier, and the music is certainly much better experienced now. The Master System had its limits, and although this game was actually a pretty good game, looking back, you can certainly detect those limits. This version of it is gorgeous. It's not even recognizable as a game from the 1980s. It feels fresh and new, and honestly, I'd highly recommend it. It's out on both iOS and Android for $5.99. It's also out on the bigger consoles if you're interested. I particularly like it on the Switch myself. And finally is Spellforce Heroes and Magic, which is basically a turn-based version of the PC strategy games. Basically, you build a kingdom. It's kind of a 4X game if you're interested. Also kind of not. Honestly, it doesn't quite go super far into any specific direction. It doesn't have a story, but it does have kind of a campaign. I feel like this is a game that over time is going to get better, assuming they continue to do work on it. But even at the moment, it's certainly worth playing. I'm not 100% sure that they have the perfect game loop worked out yet, but it's very entertaining and it does at least bring you in. It's available on iOS and Android right now for $7.99. What were your favorite iOS and Android games this past month? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So please click subscribe, as well as the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time, right here on GameRanks.
4K monitors, so this thing